Talk less, listen more. So that said, when I talk about talking less, there's some subtitles to that. One, do not interrupt the client when they're trying to make a point with you. Don't interrupt them. Don't cut them off. How you can be the greatest salesperson on the planet.
Welcome to the Rethink Sales Show. My name is Derek Kelly. I am joined by Jim Shorkey. And Jim, so many of us, when we were younger, made mistakes, whether it was in sales, whether it was in communication, right? What do you think the biggest mistake you made early on? And if you had to tell yourself, your 20-year-old self, your 25-year-old self, whatever that was, what was that mistake and how would you encourage someone that's young, starting out?
I think fundamentally it's talk less, listen more. So that said, when I talk about talking less, there's some subtitles to that. One, do not interrupt the client when they're trying to make a point with you. Don't interrupt them. Don't cut them off. Don't work on listening versus trying to come up with an answer while they're talking. We really need to be active listeners. So we listen with our eyes and we listen with our ears. But if we're busy trying to come up with a response to what the client's saying, then we're really not listening to them, are we? So that was a mistake I made. I was busy trying to come up with a response, and I should have been present in that moment listening to the client. I tended to cut people off. Not good. People do not like it when you do that. Another one is answering questions that haven't been asked. I would say fundamentally the biggest mistake I made as a new salesperson was I talked too much and I listened too little. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, so it sounded like you almost thought you knew everything.
Oh, God, yeah. I was arrogant. I did think I knew everything. I knew more than anybody.
But
That's
Jim,
a very arrogant
you could have never
position.
known every make and model in the dealership, exactly all the features they had. Exactly.
I tried to. I studied. I did know. That's not true. We sold Oldsmobiles at the time. This is 1979. We sold Oldsmobiles, and we sold Jeeps. And we sold used cars. Now, back in those days, there wasn't as much of a selection as far as models are concerned. And we didn't have that many cars. We were just a little dealership.
Right. Yeah.
But I did know, my dad, one of the things my dad taught me was to get the brochures on every single vehicle.
Agreed, yeah.
And I was a pretty smart guy, a pretty good student in college and whatnot. And I did well that way. And I was good at learning. So I did know a lot about the cars. But that's not what it's all about. It's not about knowing. People don't care how much until they know how much you care. And fundamentally, I think I remember my dad telling me to stop talking. You're talking too much. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, and I can see you talking through, you almost had all this knowledge, which wasn't bad, but you were missing the core aspect of we serve the customer. It was almost backwards, it seems. This may be what you're saying.
It was backwards, yeah. Where does the customer fit into all the knowledge? It doesn't matter to them. The cubic inch displacement of every single engine that Oldsmobile makes. They don't care about that. Or maybe they do. If they do, you're in luck. But they may not.
But that's not probably a majority of the customers coming in is, man, I wish I knew exactly X,
Well,
Y,
that's
Z."
not the point. The point is, though, the fact that you know it doesn't make you a good salesperson.
That's right.
That's the point. Mm-hmm. It's great that you memorize it. It's great that you got a high IQ, whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, the important part about selling, the most important part, is figuring out what the client wants and then showing them how your product does the things that they want it to do, that they like it to do. So we have to figure out what it is that they want. In your case, when you and I have talked in the past, safety has always been paramount with you.
Right.
And room, safety and room.
And you're going to focus on the benefits of how that impacts me, not just the features of, this has a backup. Like, you may talk through some of those features, but you're focused on how those features impact my life instead of just, did you know the engine is a V6? We could upgrade it to a V8. We could update this trim with this. You may go over those features, but people want to know, how is that impacting me? How is that relevant to what my life and what's happening in my life?
And relative to you, how important I don't think you probably even know what cubic inch displacement is, because now it's all liters per se. But yeah, cubic inches measures the displacement of the cylinders. How much? What is the cubic inches of those cylinder walls?
Wow.
That's what cubes mean. And the same thing with liters. Liters you would think is like a liter,
Yeah, a liter.
but that's what that means. A 4.7 liter motor means something. But in your world, it means nothing.
No.
That's not going to help you transport soccer balls. Now, you did mention at one time when you and I were talking that power was important to you from a safety point of view as far as being able to avoid certain situations. But we can demonstrate that just by going for
I want
a
to be able to
ride.
accelerate on the highway correctly when I need to, or get out of a situation.
we can demonstrate.
I'm not trying to get 0 to 60 in 1.8 seconds.
And we really don't need to talk about that, because when we go for a ride in the car, and I said, no, Derek, do me a favor. We're at a red light right now. There's nothing in front of us. Give it some good gas here. Let's not school the tires. Because we get, oh, wow, that's got some power. That proves the point. That proves the point. And you're happy with that.
Yep.
But now when we turn around and get out and take a look at the car, we really need to double down on the room
Yep.
and the safety.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And I think you're talking through, recognizing, man, talking to your younger self, you wish you would have known this.
I do.
You wish you would have taken care of your health more. You wish you would have slept more.
I do.
You wish you would have been less arrogant.
I do. Oh, absolutely.
Right? And all those things probably affected your ability to be present in the moment
Yeah,
with
yeah.
the people that you're with.
I'm not at all a believer in the law of attraction. I just don't believe in that. I think it's too nebulous, and I think there's a lot of conversation about it, and a lot of people that kind of really don't even understand what that means. But I do believe, in my heart of hearts, I believe in the law of personal attraction. By the way I appear in front of the client, or anybody for that matter, the way I talk, the way I listen, the way I communicate, I should say, the way I stand, the way I dress, everything that I do in terms of my presence in front of the person makes me more or less attractive. And do you know that arrogance is the number one enemy of any successful enterprise, including this enterprise right here? So I want to attract you into my world. I'm going to sell you a car today, but I'm arrogant. Is that going to pull you in or push you away?
Push me away.
So there's one.
So
There
how
you
did
go.
you get arrogant in the first place?
I don't know. I just think I was a know-it-all. I didn't want any advice. If you look up the word arrogance and there's a list of qualities that would define arrogance, I would check every box in those days, and I had to learn that lesson. When my dad died on March 24th, 1996, and you've heard me say this, I don't know how many times, but if I knew half as much as I thought I knew when my dad died, I would have been pretty damn smart. I didn't want any advice. I just didn't. I knew I was going to do it my way. And I messed up big time. And 2 years later, after my dad died, I was bankruptcy imminent. I messed up. I was arrogant. Yeah. And so there's three fundamental principles at the Jim Shorkey Family Auto Group. Number one, most important, is to love the customer. And I do mean love them.
That'll crush
Hug them,
Yep.
kiss them. And I'm talking figuratively speaking here, of course. But we want to love on our customers. Second number one goal of the Jim Shorkey Family Auto Group is to love the team. Because if we don't love the team, there's not going to be anybody to love the customers. So again, I want to kiss them, hug them, and figuratively speaking, I'm talking here. Please don't misinterpret me. I want to love on my team because I want my team to go do the work of loving the customers as well. And if you do number one, love the customer, and you do number one, love the team really well, you're going to get to be really successful. You're going to sell a lot of cars. You're going to make a lot of money. You can get a lot of neat things, get to go on trips, get to go to awards, dinners, whatever the case may be, trophies, whatever, hugs, the whole thing. And the number one enemy of any successful enterprise, be it a business, a marriage, a church, a relationship, whatever the case may be, the number one enemy of any successful enterprise is arrogance. Arrogance pushes people away. Oh, wait a second. I thought you said love the customer. Well, we're arrogant. So we're loving the customer, but we're arrogant. We're pushing people away. We don't want that. So the third goal of the Jim Shorkey Family Auto Group, almost number one, is to keep it very humble. And that's the one that I had to pay the most attention to over the years. We tended to get a little full of ourselves. That's why they don't have repeat Super Bowl teams in general. Like what happened this year is very unusual.
Yes.
The Chiefs came back again. Now, they didn't win. They ran up against an incredible team in the Philadelphia Eagles. But the point is, though, the team that wins the Super Bowl typically doesn't have the same off season as they did the previous season. Or having parties and parades and all the whole thing. They're the greatest team ever. And they don't generally make it the next year.
Wow.
Because of arrogance.
Because then in 08, 09, Great Recession time, you were having really low numbers, but you overcame that and you had your best year ever. And then there's probably a temptation for arrogance, right? Oh, we had our best year ever.
You can't let that happen as a manager, as a leader. How often should you floss your teeth?
Every day.
Why?
Because
you did it yesterday.
There's always, you're eating food, right?
You did it, yeah. So every day. So how often should we pay attention to those 3 rules? Love the customer, love the team, keep it very humble. Every day, all day long. It can get away from you pretty quickly.
Yeah.
You know, it really can.
And you have to reel it back in.
To reel it back in.
Yeah.
Well, I have this thing in my world, lifelong learning. Okay, that's one aspect of it. Constant and never-ending improvement. So even though I have those 3 principles in place, does that mean that I can walk away? Of course not.
No.
I can't. I got to keep at it.
Yep.
So we probably need to have a meeting about those 3 things today.
That's huge.
I'm not even there.
Yeah.
But let's make sure we're on point. Let's make sure we are loving the customer, loving the team, and keeping it very
Because
humble.
that creates a culture, right?
It does.
Often,
It does.
I work with a lot of companies, and I see where they haven't spent time developing that culture. Maybe they have these values that are spoken or said or mentioned or written somewhere on a wall, but it's like, how often are they going back with the team and remembering them?
Yes.
Luke's a part of our team, and there's 15 of us now, and every week we're reminding people, this is what we're here for, this is what we're doing, this is how we're serving
important.
people. And it almost feels silly of like, at first I was like, it was an exercise for me because I like to work hard and get stuff done like you, but I had to remind myself, this is really important because we're laying the groundwork
It's
for
really
culture.
important. Yeah.
It almost feels like an easy step to skip. I was meeting with a guy recently, and he's grown a pretty successful business over the past 25 years, and he's ready to retire.
Yeah.
But I can see where one of our suggestions, because we do a plan with them, one of our suggestions was you need to improve your culture. And I wasn't saying it offensively, but it was like, you have such a great team, but they're not together. You got to get them together. And that's hard. It's hard to start, but you did such a good job. You probably didn't know at the time, right? But things you tell yourself when you were 25 is, man, focus on love the customer, love the team, keep it very humble, and train on that and remind people of it, right?
Yeah. It's hard. It's hard.
It's hard.
Dying's hard.
Yeah, that's true.
Being sick is hard.
Yes.
Having a stroke with 3 brain bleeds and having to have major surgery, that was hard. So being sick is hard. Being bankruptcy imminent is hard. And conversely, even going out of business, it's hard.
Yes.
Losing sales is hard. When you're selling, just to pick a number, in our business, let's say you're selling 15 cars a month, 15, and you're doing a great job, but you get off the process of, among many things, loving the customer, loving the team, keeping it very humble. You get off the process, and now you're selling 10 cars a month. You just cut your pay by 50%, right?
Yep.
You went down from 15 to 10, close to it. And who knows? And it could be 50% with different bonuses and stuff like that. But the point is, though, it's hard not being able to pay your bills. That's hard. And it's hard being sick. It's hard being lonely. It's hard being poor. People say it's hard to save money. No, it's hard to be broke. That's what's hard. And so how do we avoid being broke? We have to
Set up a system.
bring more value to the hour. We need to, whatever the case, whatever it looks like, it could be selling, whatever it is, we're making income. How do we improve our income? How do we make more money? What's the answer?
Get better at a skill set.
Yeah, get better. Yeah. Learn more.
Yep. And spend less.
Spend less, pay down debt. There's a lot of things that we can do to get better. But the bottom line is, when you talk about that's hard, saving money is hard. Excuse me, my nose is running, guys.
Yeah.
Saving money, of course, it is hard.
Sure.
But what's harder is being broke. And I don't mean that to be frivolous or I'm not making fun of I'm not making fun of that, but when you can't pay your bills, that creates a very difficult situation. If you look at marital discord, financial difficulty is very high on the list of things that mess up a marriage.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, it is.
Not being able to pay your bills.
Yeah. Wow, Jim. Thanks. This got deep in the heart. Thanks for sharing what you would tell yourself when you were younger. The importance of listening, the importance of remembering yourself of those values, right? Those values just weren't a value statement that Jim Shorkey Auto Group had on the wall. It wasn't just in the training manuals. It was something you really tried to embody as a leader and have other people live out as well. And I can see that through people that I've met on the team, that they don't just know that head knowledge, they try to live that out in their heart.
And I want to close off with, when I had the stroke, I went through a physical therapy process. And it was, as I recall, a couple days a week for a certain period of time. And then that was it. It was over. And to me, that didn't make sense. So I actually went out and hired my own physical therapist, physical trainer kind of thing.
Yep.
Remember, they were starting off at once a week.
I remember this.
I do 3 times a week now.
Yes.
And today I did full body. Tomorrow I do Pilates. And on Friday I do boxing. And this is hard stuff. I'm hurting right now. I'm in pain. I really am. I worked my butt off today. And I was doing what is called farmer's carry. So I had 2 30-pound dumbbells. And this is relevant. It's 60 pounds. And I'm carrying these dumbbells for probably got around 4 minutes. And my arms are like just killing me. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to improve my grip strength. I got this from Dr. Peter Attia, who you saw, Mark, this morning.
Mark Mastrano. Yep.
And so why am I doing such a difficult thing? Because I want to be able, when I'm 80 years old, okay, I'm 68 right now, I want to be able to carry my own suitcases. Mm-hmm. What is carrying a suitcase? What does that sound like?
Grip strength.
It's a farmer's carry. That's what it is. I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to get down on the floor with my great-grandchildren, okay? And I want to be able to, at 80, now that's 12 years from now, so maybe not quite great-grandchildren yet, but I'll be close, say 90. I want to be able to get down on the floor with them, mess around, and get back up again. Do you realize that most people in the 80 to 90 range can't do that? Wow. I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to pick my suitcase up and put it in the overhead compartment of an airplane. In order to do that, I got to be able to put 40 pounds above my head. It sounds silly, yes, but shouldn't I be thinking about what I want to be doing 10, 15, 20 years from now? It's the same thing with the sales gig. Yes. If I should be thinking about what I want to be doing tomorrow relative to sales and then taking appropriate action to get myself ready.
Yes, that's brilliant.
Sleep. So the farmer's carry, and at least I'm planning my life accordingly. Yeah, make sense?
Yeah, that's so good. Because think about it, guys. If you're young in sales and you're just getting started, you're talking to the 20, 25-year-old Jim Shorkey, hey, be thinking about where you want to be in 10, 15 years from now.
Absolutely.
What are the actions you can take? What is the plan you can have in place to do that? Jim, thank you for walking through. I know those sound like silly examples. Oh, I want to be able to lift above my head. But that's real. That's real.
It's the same thing. It's all the same. If I want to sell 20 cars a month, I better go talk to somebody that's selling 20 cars a month and figure out what they're doing and then copy them.
Yeah.
And there's books out there. There's all kinds of stuff, YouTube videos. Yeah. It's all kinds of stuff to learn how to do the right things to get to the 20. Yeah. It's being done.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you, Jim.
Pleasure.
Thanks, guys. See you on the next episode.